Scream 4: A Scream in Time takes its place in the franchise as the soft reboot where we return to Woodsboro with a new crop of young cast members, adding some new famous faces to the cast with the likes of Emma Roberts, Hayden Panettiere, and Rory Culkin. But we haven't forgotten about our old faves from the previous installments. Sydney, Dewey, and Gale are all here, seemingly ready to pass the torch to the next generation, but spoilers, doesn't go that way. The plot of each Scream film is best thought of in its meta sense, and they were really clever with how they went about making this the soft reboot installment and subvert expectations in a couple of ways. In other soft reboots, some of the old favorite characters are still around, but the focus is supposed to shift to the new cast. Emma Roberts is playing Sydney's cousin and makes the perfect candidate for the new final girl in place of Sydney, and she would agree. The truth is, she's the one orchestrating all the murders in Woodsboro this time to leave a horrific end to her friends, her mom, and yes, especially Sydney. If everything goes to plan, she will supplant Sydney as the sole survivor of a whole new crop of Woodsboro murders. Using the magic of film, they cleverly misdirect us away from truly suspecting Emma Roberts' character by having her bear witness, along with some other helpless bystanders, to one of the Ghostface murders. The closest we see to something similar is actually the first film, with Billy and Stu kind of trading off who is Ghostface at any given time to give the other a good alibi. But we don't necessarily see one of them reacting to Ghostface killing somebody the way we do in Scream 4. It makes it harder to suspect her. The truth is, her plan is pretty solid, and her commitment, second to none. She manages to frame her ex-boyfriend and even get her accomplice to meet his end to pin the whole thing on both of them. Emma Roberts shows off her physical acting skills when she has to make it look like she too was ravaged by the killers. She braces her knife against the wall and runs into it. She smashes her own face into a framed painting. Others trying to get away with murder might think that's enough injury. Not her. She jumps backwards into a glass coffee table just for good measure. And her plan probably would have worked had not Sydney actually survived her injuries. Sydney's just never gonna go down like that. That's just not the end befitting that final girl. All in all, Scream 4 definitely falls on the horror side of the fence tonally compared to Scream 3, its predecessor, and that makes for a super solid entry. However, I do have some points of contention. Number one, the wardrobe department in this film did Sydney dirty, and by extension, Neve Campbell. Number two, Gale and Dewey are married in this one, but it's clear that there's some sort of rift going on between the two of them that appears to be, centered around this resentment Gale has for Dewey. But we don't get enough of the in-between information to understand, is it that he pressured her to quit her job and just become his wife full-time? Or is that a choice she made on her own, just thinking that's what Dewey wanted? Ultimately, it's hard for me to imagine Gale giving up her career even for Dewey, so they needed to give us the context as to why exactly that happened. And that also leads me to point number 3, which is you expect me to believe that Gale Weathers, who has the greatest name in all of these movies, decided to take Dewey Riley's last name and become Gale Riley? I'm never gonna buy it. I do like Scream 4, but I will say right here, it is my least favorite of the latter 3 films, 4, 5, and 6. But I'm very excited because next is Scream 5 in my 31 Days of Horror movie marathon. If you want to join, there's still time. The list of films is in my pinned videos. Until next time, stay screaming? Yeah, screaming.